All right, so here is the highly requested part 2 of the operations order video. For those of you that don't know, recently I did a video on the operations order, or the OPORD, and quite a few people expressed interest in it. So this time I'm going to expand on the subject just a little bit. I'll slow it down just a little bit. So on my at-home whiteboard, I've written out the 5 paragraphs that we discussed. Number 1 being situation, that's where we'll start. Under it, I wrote the area of operation, or AO. This is the area that is assigned to us by our higher headquarters. We're just trying to have a better understanding of that area. It's one of those where you know the terrain, know yourself, know the enemy. You have a better chance of winning the fight. Beneath it, I wrote AI. That's not for artificial intelligence. That is for the area of influence. It is the area that it is not assigned to us by our higher headquarters, but we have the ability to influence or impact that area, or things in that area impact our operations inside of our AO. Next, I wrote terrain. We're looking at OACOC is the way we've spelled it out. Number 1 is obstacles. So like what stands between us and our objective? What are the things that are going to get in our way, slow us down, or hinder our ability to accomplish our mission in the timely manner that we've established for ourselves? Next is avenue of approach. This is the A for OACOC. This is the area that we'll use to travel to reach our destination. And it's important that we understand this avenue of approach. What are the routes along this avenue of approach? What speeds can we travel to reach our destination in a safe and timely manner? Next is key terrain. The key terrain provides an advantage to either us or the enemy. And he or she who holds that key terrain has a distinct advantage on the battlefield. The next is observation and fields of fire. So along that route, on the objective, beyond the objective, what can we see? What can we range? With our weapon systems, our capabilities, what can we touch? And then cover and concealment. Obviously, stealth is a big deal. And so what can we use to conceal us from? I think this was pretty self-explanatory, but I'll try to break it down a little bit. What can we use to conceal ourselves from the enemy? And also, what is the enemy using to conceal themselves from us? For cover, though, because there's a difference between cover and concealment. Cover are those things that can protect you, while concealment are those things that you can use to hide yourself and your team. What are those things that we can use to protect ourselves? And what might the enemy be using to protect themselves? Next is weather. The conditions of the weather matter, obviously. So I wrote down VWP CT. And we're looking at the visibility. What can we see? What can they see? Winds, because winds tend to carry a scent or affect if we're using UAS or unmanned aerial systems. What impact does the wind have on those tools that we're using to give ourselves an advantage? Then there's precipitation. I mean, aside from, the rain being able to mask, your scent, there's also a morale factor that plays into this. Like, nobody wants to be stuck out in the rain for 3 days. Got it. We're soldiers. We're HUA. But come on. Morale plays a factor in this one. Cloud cover. This one's huge also because some of the assets that we want to use to provide us a visual of the battlefield, we may not be able to use it depending on the cloud cover. Same thing with some of the devices that we use for night vision. It requires illumination, and if there's a ton of cloud cover, then it's probably not going to work as well for you. And then the temperature. I feel like that one's a little self-explanatory too, but that one also plays a role. If it's extremely cold, the impact or the effect that it has on your weapon systems, your people, your ability to sustain yourself. All right, we're going to move to The general situation, I see it as like just a short blurb, something you'd see on CNN or Fox that explains the overall situation. For enemy and friendly, same thing for both. We're looking at 1 and 2 levels up. And so what I mean is if you're operating at the platoon level, we're looking at the battalion and the brigade. If we're operating at the battalion level, we're looking at the brigade and the division, 1 and 2 levels up. What is their mission and intent, and what are they trying to accomplish? And then beneath it, I wrote COA, which is the course of action. How do they plan to accomplish the mission? All right, and so we'll get into the mission, paragraph 2 of the operations order. It covers the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, why, and generally that covers the task and purpose. What are we trying to accomplish and why? And then we'll cover execution, which in my opinion is the meat and potatoes of the operation, but I'm biased because I am a combat arms professional. I'm going to remove myself from the frame so that you can see my board. We're going to start with the concept of the operation. We're looking at, to break this down by phase. How does this phase begin and end? And then what are the critical tasks that we're looking to accomplish during this phase? So we're looking at a general overview for the operation so that we have a conceptual understanding before we get into the scheme of maneuver itself. And then when we get into the scheme of maneuver, we're looking at all the technical details. And so I'll cover some of the fighting products that I like to use to synchronize an operation. The first is the DSM, or the Decision Support Matrix. The next is a sync matrix. It is to synchronize all the activities in an operation over a course of time. The next is the fires overlay, so that we know that where we're trying to employ fires throughout the operation. And then the last is ops graphics, or operations graphics, and that is to help control the movement throughout the operation through graphic control measures, boundaries, etc. And then we'll go to task to subordinate units, which is for each of those subordinate units inside of our task organization or inside of our organization, what have we tasked them to do and what is their purpose? And last but not least, coordinating instructions. We're looking at what are those tasks that apply to multiple elements inside of our organization. All right, sustainment, paragraph 4 of the operations order. The beans and the bullets. I put maintenance, transpo, supply, EPWs, medical for treatment and evacuation. What is the maintenance plan? How are we sustaining ourselves throughout the operation? If we have vehicles, like what is the plan for parts, etc. to keep us in the fight? Transpo, how are we moving about the battlefield? What vehicles or platforms are we using? Supply, what do we have available to us? And then what is the plan to bring in more supply to sustain us for the duration of the operation? And then we have EPWs, enemy prisoners of war. What is the plan for those individuals? And then for ourselves and the enemy, medical. Is there a treatment plan there, which there absolutely should be? And then what is the plan for evacuation? Because people tend to get hurt in complex operations. And so what is the plan to get them out? All right, and so in the 1 minute that I have remaining, I'll try to wrap it up with the command and control. The top of my screen here got cut off, but we're looking at the key leader locations. Where are those key leaders, the guys or gals that are in charge? And then if something happens to them, the succession of command, who is next in charge? And then command posts, the TOC, the TAC, or the ACP, where are they located? Who's running those? Reports, what reports are we requiring our subordinates to send us, and what reports are required to send to higher? Signal, how are we talking? Signal operating instructions, the PACE plan, primary, alternate, contingents, emergency, the plan for talking. What are the signals for communicating with each other non-verbally? Challenge, password, number combo, and running password if you have one. Try to summarize it up as fast as I can. If you have feedback, provide it in the comments. See ya. Peace.